So yeah, man, we are live.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for attending this live hangout. I wanted to introduce a awesome just guy in general, but he's also an expert in marketing funnels and automation, and this is something that I'm personally going through in my business. So I'm really excited to have Todd Brown on our live hangout. So Todd, welcome and thank you for taking some time out of your day.
Oh man, I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity, man, to hang out with your tribe and really deliver some value, man. And so, yeah, for time purposes, let's jump in and really just rock, man, because I want to make sure that we deliver as many aha moments for the folks that are watching this live or via the recording or whatever. And so today is kind of it's a pre-training, if you will, and it's a pre-training to kind of get your frame and your head right prior to tomorrow's full-blown training. So first and foremost, if you haven't registered yet, there should be a link somewhere below this Hangout video where you can register for tomorrow's training. It's free, and it's a full-blown, intense training on a lot of the nitty-gritty details of setting up your marketing funnel. Today, I want to share with you some of the nuggets, like some of the most important elements that you need to grasp from a strategic perspective as it relates to having your funnel, thinking about your funnel, engineering your funnel. And the things that I'm going to share with you today, they are the core elements, if you will, that the savviest direct response marketers, the guys that are most successful online, when it comes to setting up customer acquisition funnels that acquire new customers, that turn prospects into new customers. I'm going to share with you the things that they know and that they understand, that allow them to set up these funnels, that allow them to scale their business, that unfortunately most average marketers are never told. And so some of the things that I'm going to share with you today may be a little bit advanced. Some of the things I'm going to do the best that I can to really break it down for you and really get your head right, get you thinking the right way about your funnel. And then tomorrow we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details where I'm going to go over the different tactical elements, the different steps of a very specific customer acquisition funnel that's just been working like gangbusters. And so the first thing that I want to share with you, I just want to get into it. Right? The first thing that I want you to understand is a phenomenal, really a game-changing, business-changing, life-changing piece of advice that I got a handful of years ago from my buddy Rich Sheffrin. And at the time, I had just moved my family down to South Florida. I met with Rich. We were in a little Starbucks cafe inside of a Barnes and Noble in Boca Raton, Florida. And I was meeting with Rich at this particular time to talk to him about the lack of overall conversions in my business, and more than anything at the time, to talk to him about the lack of consistency in revenue, the lack of stability in the cash flow, the revenue coming in, the sales coming in, and of course, ultimately, my income. And I explained to him everything that I was doing, and I had been, at the time, dabbling with SEO and just a variety of different, free traffic techniques and all this nonsense that so many marketers, unfortunately, also get sucked into. And he looked across the table from me, and he said something to me that I'm going to share with you now, that I share in virtually all of my trainings with all of my clients, no matter what level they are, and I want you to get this. And if you get this one piece of advice alone, you really get it and you act on it, this can truly forever change your business and your income. And he said to me, Todd, if you ever want to have consistency in your income, in your revenue, if you ever want to have stability, true stability in your business, where your business, your sales, your revenue, your income, your cash flow, all those things are consistent and consistently growing, he said, you absolutely must be able to acquire new customers from paid media, from paid traffic. He looked at me and he said, and this sometimes rubs some people the wrong way. He looked at me and he said, reliance on affiliates, reliance on joint venture partners, reliance on product launches will never give you consistency, right? Reliance on SEO will never give you consistency. With SEO, the reality is I've been at this game for over 12 years, right? Marketing online. There were times where I invested tons of money in SEO with different servers and rotating IP addresses and all kinds of blogs, and we working with Skidoo and backlinks and all this, content distribution and all this stuff. And the reality is that at any given point, Google can change their algorithm, and you could go from a number 1, a number 2, a number 3 listing to number 101, 102, 103, just like that. And the marketers that are reliant on, let's say, SEO, for example, their business can evaporate overnight, right? That's the kind of thing that if you are a full-time marketer and your full-time income, your living, what you're earning, your ability to support yourself, your family, if it's reliant on those rankings, my God, I don't know how you can sleep at night. And that's how I felt, really, because to know that your business is incredibly vulnerable. And so the reality is with affiliates and JVs and launches, and let me just say this, I love launches, right? I love launches. I was actually a faculty member for my good friend Jeff Walker at his like $10,000 per person product launch manager training. I love launches. They are great, but a reliance on launches, when your business relies on launches to acquire new customers, right, to generate cash flow and revenue, your business is incredibly vulnerable. It's vulnerable because if you don't get the support from those partners that they promised, that they claimed that they would give you, that they said they would give you, if they mail once instead of 3 times, or if they don't mail, or if they don't mail the right copy, or if they don't mail on the right date, and one of your launches goes south, and that's what you're relying on, well, now your business is in trouble, right? Affiliates flake out, they disappear, they do all the, I could go on, and I'm sure Mark could probably equally, he could share with you some crazy stories. Am I saying that those things aren't good? Am I saying those things aren't valuable? Absolutely not. They are, but they should be the gravy for you, not the thing that you rely on. See, the biggest, most successful companies, they're able to consistently acquire new customers from paid media, from paid traffic. See, paid traffic is the only thing that will give your business stability and consistency because it's directly within your control. You can scale it, you can streamline it, right? You could shrink it, you could turn it up, you can open it, you can reduce it, and there is more opportunities today than ever before to generate traffic to your site with paid sources, right? And let me say this, let me throw this out right now, and I know I'm going at lightning pace, I know I'm going, kind of a little bit all over the place, but that's because there's so much that I want you to grasp. The reality is that, first and foremost, there's more paid traffic channels and traffic opportunities today than there's ever been before. When I first got online 12 years ago, 13 years ago, we had a couple of different traffic sources, right? We were heavily reliant on Google AdWords at the time. There wasn't, Facebook advertising. I don't even remember if there was Facebook then. There wasn't Facebook advertising like, there is today. There wasn't the opportunity to do media buying, banner placement, like there is today. Today, there are more sources for traffic generation than most marketers will ever tap into. The reality is that between my coaching clients, my consulting clients, and the companies that come to me and hire me to fix their funnels or create new funnels, I have never seen in the last year and 10 months since the inception of marketingfunnelautomation.com, I have never seen a marketer or a company have a traffic problem. The problem is never can they generate enough traffic. The problem is, can they generate traffic that they convert into new customers and sales, right? The problem is never traffic. The problem or the issue is always conversions. Can you convert enough of your traffic into customers and sales? And when you're paying for traffic, the issue, the focus is, can you convert enough prospects into customers and sales to recoup your ad spend, to recoup all of the money that you spent or invested into traffic, right? If you invest $100, can you convert enough prospects into customers and sales to recoup that 100? If you invest 500, can you convert enough prospects into customers and sales to recoup that 500 or that 1,000 or that 5,000 or that 10,000, whatever it is that you invest each month? See, that's where the problem is for the majority of marketers. That's what we're going to be talking about the rest of today, and really getting into the nitty-gritty details of doing this tomorrow. But the first thing that I want you to grasp is that stability and consistency in your business, with your revenue, with your cash flow, and with your income only comes from paid traffic. When you get that and you realize that and you begin to focus your marketing on being able to convert that traffic into customers and sales, your business will change forever. Mark and I were just, prior to the hangout, we were just talking about the impact that can have on a business when you're able to move in that direction.
Yeah.
Now, right? Is that anything you want to add to that, Mark?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and this training is coming at a perfect time in my business as well, and like we just talked about, because I've always been so reliant on product launches and affiliate partners. And just like you said, you cannot always rely just on JVs alone, because like you were saying, the market is getting very saturated. There's so many different products out there that affiliates are kind of getting spread thin. And you'll get people who commit and say they're going to promote your products, but then they don't, or it flops. And that's what I started to realize, and that's what that's why we're building out funnels in my business, so that we can, start small. And a lot of people think, oh, well, if I do paid traffic, I need to spend all sorts of money. I quickly realized that I could do a small test to just, and spend maybe a few $100s and really test certain elements on a page to see if it's going to convert or not. And so I've just noticed that there's been a huge shift in what we're doing in my business, and I've just noticed guys like Ryan Dice and all these big guys who do millions of dollars of revenue. They don't rely solely on JVs. It's just one piece of the pie.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me just say, and that you're absolutely right, man, and you're dead on. And let me say this, right? I'll say this, and this is, these are things today that I want you to start to think about, and I want you to get before our full-blown training tomorrow. And really, the purpose of this kind of pre-training is just so that you really understand the value of everything that I'm going to share with you tomorrow, right? It's really understanding the impact that everything that I'm going to share with you can have on your business. But you're absolutely right, Mark. First of all, one of my mentors, and really I consider him a friend today, Michael Masterson, or Mark Ford is his real name. He's really the mad scientist, marketer, if you will, behind Agora. And for those of you that don't know who Agora is, Agora does about $600 million a year in information publishing, primarily in the financial and alternative health newsletter business. Now, if you look at Agora, they very rarely, if ever, do launches, and they very rarely do anything with affiliates. Why? Because they don't need to, because they understand how to use paid traffic to generate leads and ultimately convert those leads into sales at a high enough conversion rate to recoup their money. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into what does that mean and what does that look like. And so the other thing that I want to address is that, I very quickly realized, Mark, you mentioned Ryan and Perry, digital marketer. And you take Ryan and Perry, or you take my buddy Russell Brunson's company. You take any company that is doing millions of dollars a year. And the one thing that you will find in common with all of them is not only are they doing and utilizing paid traffic, but they are investing tens of thousands of dollars every month, right? The thing that the biggest companies have in common is that they invest big money into paid traffic. Now, for those of you that you hear big money and you immediately say like, well, I don't have big money. I get it. I didn't have big money either. I'm not going to tell you to turn around and invest big money. There's, like Mark said, we're going to talk about how you're able to use a method that I call tiny budget recycling, where legitimately you can take $50 and just recycle that money over and over and over. Right? So at the end of the month, let me give you just a quick example. I know that this is, going off on a right turn for 1 second, but understand that what I'm going to show you how to do tomorrow is I'm going to show you how to engineer a funnel that brings you back your ad spend. So for every dollar that you invest into traffic, you're going to recoup at least $1 in the form of a new customer, in the form of sales. So the very first thing that I want you to, the shift that I want you to make in your mind is that we're not talking about traffic as an expense. When I talk about you investing money into traffic, whether that's $30, $50 a day, whatever the number, $10 a day or $1,000 a day, whatever that number is, and it does not matter, okay? I want you to stop thinking about that number as an expense. It's not like the lights in your office. It's not like the telephone. It's not like your internet access. It's not an expense. It's an investment. It's an investment like a stock that actually returns your money, right? So you invest $1 in a stock and you get back $1 and you get back a customer, an asset that's going to be worth more and more and more money to you over the coming weeks and months, right? So it's kind of like, it's like me saying to you, if I told you that for every dollar that you could invest in a stock, you would immediately get your dollar back, and you would then have a stock that is going to appreciate in value over the coming weeks and months, bringing you more money. Well, if I said to you, how often would you be willing to invest that dollar in that stock? Well, the answer should be every day, all day. I'll invest that every minute of every day. If what you're saying to me is that every time I put in $1, I get back $1 and I get an asset that's going to grow, right? Well, that's the same thing that I'm talking about. And so in your mind, I want you to stop calling traffic an expense, and I want you to start referring to it as an investment, because what we're talking about here is investing in traffic, right, where you're sending that traffic to a vehicle that brings you back whatever it is that you're investing into traffic. It's not an expense, it's an investment. And that's why I say that you can use this tiny budget recycling method where, let's say, for example, you invest $50 a day into traffic, right? Let's keep it real simple and say you're leveraging certain aspects of Facebook advertising for a second. Well, at $50 a day, if you invest $50 today and you generate enough sales to recuperate that $50, tomorrow you go out and you do the same thing with your $50, and the next day and the next day. At the end of the month, you've really invested $1,500 into traffic. You got $1,500 worth of traffic to your site, but you didn't have to start out with that $1,500. You didn't have to risk that $1,500. All you were ever risking each day was the $50, and you were using that $50. You were recycling that $50 over and over and over and over again. And so that's how you're able to invest more and more money into your traffic, right? And then when you want to go from $50 to $100 and you see that at $100 a day, you're still recouping that $100. Now over the course of a month, you're able to invest $3,000 into traffic. And my gosh, with $3,000 worth of traffic, you're able to grow a business as long as you have a conversion vehicle in place, a marketing funnel that's taking that $3,000, that $1,000, that $1,500, that $500, that $20, and turning it into new customers and sales. Now, Mark, right?
I just want to say one thing. I mean, and I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't mind breaking even on, if I invest $1 and I get $1 worth of revenue coming in, because in the long term, I'm building the number one asset, which is your email list, so you can continue to remarket to them. And so there may be times that you're even losing money on the front end to acquire the customer who's going to be a long-term customer, and you're going to make hundreds, thousands of dollars over the long term as long as you have the proper funnel in place.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was going to mention today, and you're absolutely right. You're dead on. And let me kind of break that down a little bit more for everybody. So number one, and this is one of those writer downers, so write this down. And that is that the savviest direct response marketers, the marketers that grow their companies the quickest, that grow their companies the biggest, the real players, they understand that there's a difference between back-end marketing and front-end marketing. And so for those of you that might be somewhat new to the game, let me just explain to you the difference. So all of the marketing that you do, the marketing funnels that you put in place, or the marketing funnel that you're going to put in place, the first marketing funnel, that is marketing to prospects, to individuals that have not spent any money with you. They're not a customer. They don't have any of your products. You don't have that deep relationship with them yet. That's what's called the front end. The back end is all of the marketing that you do with existing customers. It's presenting your existing customers with more products, more services, more opportunities to reap more value from you and invest more money with you. Well, what the savviest direct response marketers understand is that the whole purpose of the front end is not to profit. The whole purpose of the front end is not to generate a profit. See, the typical average entrepreneur, the typical small business owner, now let's take the small business owner in the offline world, the brick and mortar world, or the small business owner or operator that then migrates online and has an online division, if you will, of their company, or even uses online marketing to grow their offline business, their brick and mortar business. The way the average entrepreneur looks at it is a transaction is a transaction. To the average entrepreneur, they look at every single transaction, whether it's with a prospect, turning them into a first-time customer, or an existing customer, turning them into, generating a second purchase, or, a long-time customer, getting them to buy a big package on the back end or whatever. To the average entrepreneur, they look at those transactions as the same, with the same goal, and that goal being to generate a profit. But the savviest direct response marketers understand that the whole purpose of the front end is not to generate a profit. The whole purpose of the front end is to generate maximum new customers. And so the reason why you should be willing to go to break even. Now, let me say this, that, Mark mentioned there are times when you might go negative, when you might lose money. Well, I'm going to say that Mark is absolutely correct. However, that is an advanced strategy that is typical for more mature companies that have, first of all, proven reliable metrics, and that have the cash flow, and that are willing to float the money, which we'll probably end up talking about tomorrow, to acquire new customers. What I'm going to recommend for you, and this is what I teach to all of my students relatively, no matter what level they're at, relatively, and that is that you want to go to break even. And what I mean by break even is that whatever you invest in your traffic, that's what you want to generate back in the form of new customers. So whereas the typical entrepreneur, the typical mom and pop small business owner, whereas if they ran an ad or did some kind of advertising campaign that, let's say, they invested $1,000, and if they acquired new customers that all, in total spent $1,000 with them, to the typical online entrepreneur, typical small business owner, they would see that advertising campaign as a failure. They would say, well, we didn't make any money, right? And so they would see it as a failure. They would see it as a failure because, again, their goal is to generate a profit. But the savviest direct response marketers understand that that's a winning campaign. It's a winning campaign because you're acquiring customers for free. See, understand something, and I know I'm trying to pack a bunch into, an hour here, but understand something that, that if you deliver the goods, if you deliver great products that deliver value, that fulfill on your promises, products that truly exceed customers' expectations in both the quality of the product, in the experience that they have with you, the support that they get from you, those are buyers, meaning that it's not like they're going to buy one product from you, be blown away, love what you got, and walk away and never buy anything again from you. These are buyers, and buyers are buyers, right? They are individuals that will spend more and more money with you. So that first transaction is just that. It's just the very first transaction in what will be a series of transactions if you've got your business marketing set up correctly, if you've got your back-end funnel or funnels in place, the marketing that you're going to do to existing customers, those customers are going to spend a lot more money with you. So if you break even on the front, meaning you invest $1,000 into paid traffic and you generate back new customers that total spend $1,000 with you, meaning you didn't make any profit, you broke even, but you acquired these new customers, you acquired an asset. You acquired an asset that's going to appreciate over time, right? This is why those of you that have been around the direct response game for any significant length of time, you've heard this, the metric, one of the most important metrics in any business is the lifetime customer value. What is the value of the average customer worth to a business? See, if I know that the average customer is worth $3,000 to me, let's just say, over the lifetime of their patronage with me, meaning that's what the average customer spends. Some spend $500, some spend $50, some spend $15,000, but the average is, let's say, $3,000. Well, if you're asking me, would I happily invest $500 today to acquire a single new customer, the answer is going to be absolutely. Absolutely. Even if that customer only spends $200 today, even if that customer only spends $200 with me today, would I be willing to invest $500 to acquire them? Meaning, in my case, lose $300 every time I acquire a new customer? Well, the answer is absolutely, because I know that the average customer is worth $3,000, and I know that over the coming weeks and months, they're going to invest more and more money with me, ultimately getting to the point where, I profit $2,500 on average from each new customer. And so the point is, like Mark was sharing with you, that the name of the game is on the front end to break even. Whatever you invest in paid traffic, our job with the front end marketing funnel that I'm going to walk you through during tomorrow's full-blown webinar training is to bring your money back so that you can take that money and you can turn it over again. Right? The goal with your advertising, with the money that you invest into paid traffic, is to turn it over as often and as quickly as you can. Meaning, you put out the $50 today, our goal is to recoup the 50 as quickly as possible and put it back out there to work for us, bringing us back more leads to put into our funnel, to convert into customers and sales, to do it again and to do it again, and then to grow that number from 50 that we're putting out there to 100, to 150, to 250, to 350, to $500 a day, to as much as you want to scale. That's our goal. Does that make sense, Mark?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And I actually have a good case study where I kicked myself, and some people listening may have heard of it, but the first launch that I did, it was an Amazon product. And we did a six-figure launch, which was great for like our first launch. And so we made about $100,000 on the launch, and we had to pay out affiliates. But we had no back-end funnel at all. We had no one-time offers. And I was just starting out. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, oh, great, I have a product here. Let's go sell it. And it did really well. Well, as I started to become a little bit more savvier and started to realize the value of having a proper back-end funnel, well, I realized that I can make more money on the back end than I can on the front end if you've constructed it correctly. And so, I know just from doing launches now that, obviously 100% will buy the front-end product, and then probably another 30 to 40% are going to buy the first OTO, and then if I have a second OTO, about 20 to 30% are going to buy that. But if you don't have that funnel in place, that's all missed opportunity and missed revenue that you could be generating.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me say this. Let me differentiate for 1 second, and you're dead on. And that's ironically also one of the things that I'm talking about these things, which is totally cool, out of order of what I was going to talk about them in, but you're absolutely dead on right. Let me clarify something real quick for everybody. So when I talk about the back end, okay, back end marketing funnel, the back end is everything that you present to a customer after their initial transaction. I say that because when the initial transaction include the initial front end transaction. So remember, the front end is the marketing that we do to prospects, to convert a prospect into a customer. The back end is all the marketing that we do with existing customers. Now within the front end funnel, you've got let's call it, well, within the front end marketing funnel, you've got what we call an offer sequence. An offer sequence. The offer sequence consists of the main front end product. That's the thing that you're marketing in your front end funnel, the thing that you're presenting, whether the price point is $10, whether it's $30, whether it's $49, whatever it is. It's that main product, right? That's what we call the main front end product. Now, what Mark is talking about is that after that main front end product, when a customer purchases, so they click the add to cart button on your VSL, on your long form sales letter, on your short form sales letter, whatever. Excuse me. They go to your order form, they enter their credit card information, their payment details, and they press submit. That product is what we call your front end, your main front end product. Now, immediately after that, after they press submit on that order form, what Mark is talking about is the part of the offer sequence that consists of what's typically referred to as upsell offers or add-on offers, right? Because they're not always upsells, they can be add-ons, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm going to tell you the number one highest converting add-on offer strategy that we've ever used, that we continue to use to this day, that we teach clients.
Would you like fries with that?
Yeah, well, yeah, right. I mean, that's, absolutely. That is an example, right, of an add-on offer.
It happens online and offline. It happens
everywhere. It happens everywhere. You go in, I used to give the example of, you go in and if you're a man and you buy a suit, and you go in and you buy a $2,000 suit, of course, they're going to offer you, do you want a tie to go with that? Do you want a belt to go with that? Do you want shoes to go with that? They're going to offer you additional items, add-on offers to go with that suit. And a certain percentage are gonna take advantage of those offers, especially if they're special deals, right? Especially if it's a deal or if it's an offer that you can only get at that point of sale when you're getting that $2,000 suit. And so they're going to turn a $2,000 customer into a $2,800 customer or $2,700 customer on average. Not everybody that buys the $2,000 suit is going to buy shoes, tie, shirt, and a belt. Some might buy all of those. Some might buy none of those. Some might buy one or two of those. But they're going to bump up the average transaction value. The thing that I want everybody to understand is the savviest direct response marketers, when it comes to their front end funnel, they view that entire offer sequence as the front end. So what we're looking to do with that front end sequence is we're looking to generate an average dollar value. We're ultimately looking to break even on that sequence. So if you've got a product that's $10 and then let's say you have, an upsell offer that's $50 and another upsell offer that's $200, and let's hypothetically say you've got a third upsell offer that's $500, whatever it is that you generate from that entire offer sequence, on average for every new customer, that's considered the front end. Now, why is that so important? There are two things that I want to share with you today about that. Number one, why is that so important? Well, because of a couple of reasons. Number one, all else being equal, the marketer, the company that can afford to invest the most amount of money to acquire a new customer will always win the game. Meaning, if I can afford to invest $50 to acquire a customer and you can only afford to invest $20 to acquire a customer, I'm going to crush you. Because there are channels that I can use that you won't be able to. There are cost per click that I'll be able to afford that you won't be able to afford because you're only willing to invest 20, or maybe you only can invest 20 because you only have a front end product, or your product, you don't have really a dialed funnel, and so it doesn't convert high enough. All else being equal, the marketer that can invest the most amount of money to acquire, or the marketer that does invest the most amount of money to acquire new customers is going to dominate, is going to win the game. And so what that means is that you have to have a high average transaction value. You have to, the average amount that you acquire per new customer needs to be higher than your competitors so that you can afford to invest more than your competitors to acquire new customers. When you can do that, it's a totally different ball game. Right? Does that make sense, Mark? I want to make sure that I'm not like, yeah? Okay. And so the other thing for you to grasp is that media costs today, though, I said earlier that there are more traffic opportunities and more traffic channels than ever before, right? Traffic is never the problem. It's always conversions. Even for the marketers that, a lot of times marketers, they say, I tried Facebook, it doesn't work. I tried Google AdWords, it doesn't work. I tried, banner ads, they don't work. What they're really saying is that every time I spend money on those things, I don't recoup my money, I lose my money. That's not a traffic problem, that's a conversion problem, right? It's a conversion problem. But the reality is that media costs are going up. Right? Today, it's more expensive to generate a click for most keywords on Google AdWords than it was 5 years ago. When I first started online, we worked with chiropractors. We were big in the chiropractic marketplace. And there were keywords, some of our primary keywords, that we used to spend, and these were ultra targeted, like these were buyers, if you will, that we would spend 35 cents, even 40 cents a click. Not cheap, right? Not cheap by any stretch. Today, those same keywords are anywhere from $3.50 to $4 a click. Anywhere they were, a fraction, a tenth of what they are today. Media costs are going up. And so because of that, you have to be able to convert at a high enough rate to be able to afford that, right? You see how this whole thing is coming full circle, but that's the name of the game. When you're able to do that, your business life, your life will change forever. When you can afford to invest, let's say, $1 a click, when most of your competitors are struggling they've got to keep their cost per click down to 30 cents or 20 cents, and you can afford to invest $1 per click, your life is going to change. Your life and your business is going to change forever because you can scoop up the majority, the lion's share of traffic in your niche because you're able to do things that other marketers, other competitors just aren't able to do, right? And so the name of the game is conversions. Now, very quickly to just go back to something, and I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but Mark had mentioned the upsell sequence, and really, if I look back over the last 5 to 7 years, the biggest game changer in the online marketing world has really been the one-click, the ability to do one-click add-on offers and one-click upsell offers. Like when I first got online 12 years ago, we didn't have the ability to do these one-click offers like we do today. One-click is where somebody enters their credit card information into the order form once for the main front-end product. Then we're able to make them multiple offers, and to take advantage of those offers, they don't need to re-enter their credit card. They could just push a button and it gets added to their order. Push a button and it gets added to their order. Years ago, in order to process upsells, it was like being MacGyver, man. We had to do all these kind of crazy things, but the post-purchase upsells when they were done, they had to re-enter their credit card information. You presented somebody with a front-end offer and they entered their credit card, they pressed submit, they came to another offer. If they wanted it, they had to re-enter their payment information again. It's what a lot of marketers that I see using only PayPal, they have to do. You want to offer an upsell, somebody's got to go back into PayPal and enter their information again. Well, getting a prospect to enter their credit card information into an order form again creates a lot of friction in the process. And so years ago, the conversion rates, the take rates on upsells and add-on offers were nowhere near what they were today. And so back then, it was extremely difficult to make a lower priced offer work. It was extremely difficult to offer a $7 product or a $9 product or a $10 product, a product to get a new customer in the door, so to speak, a product to that was a low barrier of entry product. It was extremely difficult to turn those customers from a $7 or $8 or $9 or $10 customer into an average of a $79 customer because of all the friction that was in the process. Today, that friction's eliminated. And so if you don't have a one-click add-on offer sequence in your marketing funnel, you are leaving a majority of money on the table, like Mark said. The reality, what Mark said that I hope everybody picked up on is you will generate, if you do it right, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this tomorrow. If you do this right, the add-on offer sequence alone will generate multiples of what the front-end product generates, will generate multiples in terms of revenue. In some cases, 3, 4, and 5 times the revenue that you generate from that main front-end product. Meaning that if you only had that front-end product, if you only sent somebody, if you only got them to click the add to cart button, go to the order form, they press submit, and then you brought them to a thank you page. If that's all you did, you are leaving 3 to 4 times the amount of revenue that you're generating on the table. You're losing 3 to 4 times the amount of revenue that you could be generating because of the capability of a one-click upsell offer sequence done right. It's been the biggest game changer. And so you see how all of this comes together. See, today, what that means for you, and I'm going to show you how to do this tomorrow on the training. So if you haven't registered, definitely get on there. Is the beauty is that it allows us to present a product to a market that is a lower barrier of entry product. And I'm going to show you how that's done tomorrow. Not a low, ultra low, $7 gig. I'm going to show you how to generate quality buyers that are much more likely to take advantage not only of your add-on sequence, but your back-end offers, which is where all your profit comes from. But understand that it gives us the ability to sell a lower barrier of entry product and then turn that lower dollar figure customer into a much higher figure customer, which then allows us to pay for media, right? It allows us to invest more into media to acquire more customers to just feed this beast, man, to just feed this machine. And so if you don't have that one-click add-on offer sequence and it's not laid out right, meaning that it's not bringing you 3 to 4 times the amount of revenue you're generating from the front, well, then you have a much lower transaction value. The amount that you can afford to spend to acquire a customer is much lower, and you're really handcuffed. And so that's why, the other thing that I really want you to grasp is that's why, look, I see marketers on Facebook, seemingly savvy, sharp marketers that I know are savvy. It drives me nuts when I see them posting things like, hey, check out my Facebook campaign. I'm getting 7-cent clicks, or I'm getting 5-cent clicks, or I'm getting 11-cent clicks. The reality is that that your cost per click is insignificant. It's meaningless without sharing the number, the other metric, the more important metric, which is what are you earning per click? Right? Because the reality is at 3 cents a click, at 5 cents a click, at 10 cents a click, if there's no conversions there, you can go out of business. All you're doing is going out of business 3 cents at 3 cents a click. Right? In other words, it doesn't matter how low your cost per click is. What matters is how much are you earning back per click. The only thing that when a marketer shares, we're paying 3 cents a click, what I want to hear is, are you at least earning 3 cents a click? Are you earning 5 cents a click? Are you earning 7 cents a click? Are you earning 20 cents a click? $1 a click? $3 a click? Right? Because understand that the cost per click is not the name of the game. The earnings per click is the name of the game. The goal is not to strive to get your cost per click down. The goal is to strive to get your earnings per click up. Right? See, because if you told me that, when marketers ask me, they say, man, I'm paying $2 a click, and I know that that's a lot. I say, well, a lot compared to what? Right? A lot compared to what? If you're earning $4 a click, $2 a click is not a lot at all. That's a winning campaign, right? You're crushing it. You're doubling your money. If you were paying $5 a click, but you said to me, Todd, I'm earning back $6 a click, that's not a lot. But if you said to me, we're spending 40 cents a click, but we're only making back 8 cents a click, that's a lot. Then you're not recouping your money. You see, so the name of the game is growing your earnings per click. That happens through your marketing funnel. Does that make sense, Mark? Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's the same thing with the conversion rate metric. Some people say, our product's converting at at 20% or something like that, but the product is $6 or something like that. So
Right.
your earnings per click is actually very, very low. Now, if you have a well-designed funnel in the back end, then it can make up for that. But sometimes conversion rate can also be misleading.
Right. No, absolutely. It's kind of like, let me say this, and this may be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more advanced, but, the things like opt-in rate and sales conversion rate, those are what we call optimization metrics, meaning that we use those metrics when reviewing a funnel, when measuring the performance of a funnel, to find what is considered the constraint in the funnel, the one weakest link in the chain. In other words, opt-in rate is meaningless, right? Like, meaning that in terms of determining whether a funnel is working for you. Like, I had a client once come to me, and he had a 52% opt-in rate from cold traffic on an opt-in page, and he said to me, I really don't want to, I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to change the page much. It's converting, 52%, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, tell me about the sales numbers. And he said, well, we're not converting anything right now. And then I said, so who cares about the 52%? What does that matter? We're not in the business to generate opt-ins. And I know that sounds harsh. I just want you guys to get this. Like, I don't want you to get sucked into the same nonsense that I got sucked into, that I see so many of my students when they first come to me that they've been sucked into. Like, I said to him, are you, is it more important for you to get a 52% opt-in rate, or is it more important that you make money? And I don't mean to, because I said to him, would you rather have a 52% opt-in rate on your opt-in page and make no sales, or would you be okay with a 23% opt-in rate but you're making money? Well, yeah. Of course, the answer is right. And so the reality is that you can have a 10% opt-in rate and be making more money than somebody with a 50% opt-in rate. Now, look, if you've got a funnel that's converting, like I'm going to show you how to set up tomorrow, and you look at your metrics and you see that, well, man, our opt-in page is converting at 10%, and odds are that that's going to be the constraint. Well, then we're going to go to work on bumping up that 10%, right? It's an optimization metric, meaning it tells us what needs to be worked on in your funnel that's gonna produce the biggest jump in results. Just like sales conversion rate, right? It doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, you can be converting 100% and still losing money, whereas you can be converting 1% and doing great. And so it's only a metric that tells us where in your funnel needs to be optimized, and like, what is the constraint right now that we need to focus on? What's the weakest link that we need, that we need to focus on, and then we go to work on it, optimizing it. And that's, this is, I know we're kind of going off a little bit, but this is an important point for everybody. Like, the single most important metric that you need to look at when you're first launching and testing a brand new funnel is ROI, is return on investment. No other metric. You can't, you can't deposit opt-in rate. You can't pay your bills with opt-in rate. You can't pay your bills with sales conversion rate. You pay your bills with ROI. That's what you pay your bills with. You pay your bills with, I invested $1 and how much did I make back today? And at the end of the day, right, I will continue to run for myself and clients every single marketing funnel, regardless of opt-in rate, regardless of sales conversion rate. I will continue to run every funnel that, if it's allowing us to invest $1 and make back $1, we're going to run it all day long. We're going to still use those optimization metrics to find out the constraint in the funnel, and we're going to go to work on it, and we're going to boost it, but we're going to continue to run any funnel that allows you to break even, meaning any funnel that allows you to acquire new customers at break even, is a winning funnel, right? Is a winning funnel. And so, so that makes sense, Mark? Is that cool?
Oh, sorry, you just broke up. What did you say?
Oh, I was just saying, like, does that make sense? Like, is that anything that you would add to that? Any marketing funnel that allows you to break even, we continue to run. It doesn't matter what the opt-in rate is, what the sales conversion rate is. If you're investing $1 and your ROI is there, meaning that you're breaking even, meaning that you're acquiring customers for free, we're going to continue to run it.
Yeah, and I think one thing to think about is, don't be scared of a marketing funnel. When we talk about this stuff, a lot of people are a little bit kind of like, wow, so I have to create a front end product, and I got to create multiple products, on the back end. And this kind of stuff can be done over time. It's not like you're going to build out a full marketing sequence overnight. It doesn't happen that way. But I think what you're saying, Todd, is think about it in terms of a funnel. Okay, well, if I'm going to be selling a piece of software on the front end, well, they're probably going to need a piece of training that complements the software, or vice versa. And then maybe, after, a week after they have consumed the product, well, maybe I offer some sort of a one-on-one coaching program or something like that. So it's important, whenever I map out my sequence, I stand in front of a whiteboard and I say, okay, well, here's going to be the front-end offer, and here's going to be the things that I can that can complement what it is that they just purchased or just consumed.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk about some specific strategies for doing that, and uncovering those ideas, and even pricing structure for the add-on offer sequence and whatnot tomorrow for sure. I guess really the last thing that I'll throw out, and let me say two things, and then we'll wrap it up, call it a day, and everybody, whoever hasn't registered, go ahead and register for tomorrow's webinar training. But two things. One, to address what you said, Mark, and you're absolutely right, that you don't build out an entire funnel. Like you don't sit down and build the front end offer, all the offers in the add-on offer sequence. You don't do that. You start with what's called a minimum viable funnel. And because if the front end offer, the main front end offer, doesn't convert, meaning that offer where the add to cart button, order form, credit card information, if that doesn't convert, then who cares what add-on offers you have? It doesn't matter yet. It's too premature to have those in place. So the most important, the thing to nail, that you've got to nail, is that front-end offer, right? So that we get people that are taking that offer like crazy. Once we see, all right, we got that dialed, and I'm going to show you how to do that tomorrow, then it's roll out this, the first add-on offer, and there are really 4 specific add-on offers that I'm going to show you, and a specific sequence to those add-on offers that I'm going to show you how to roll out. Then you build them out one at a time. But you start with this minimum viable funnel to test this initial front-end offer so that we know that converts. Once it converts, then piece by piece by piece, it can get rolled out. And so the last thing that I will say goes to, and let me just make sure that I covered everything. This, that, yeah, okay. So the last thing that I'll throw out, and I could have really covered it earlier on, is, we talked about this idea of I'm not a fan of, risking. I'm very risk averse, right? I might have used a stock analogy earlier, but I hate the stock market. I bootstrapped all of the companies that I've started online. In fact, I started online with $800, and I never invested another dime of my own money again. $800 went to form a corporation, I think get a merchant account. I'm very big into bootstrapping, and so, that's why I shared that tiny budget recycling method, right? At the end of the month, whatever we spend or whatever we invest in traffic, it wasn't like at the beginning of the month I said, all right, I'm going to set aside 35 grand to now invest in traffic. I'm all about, we're going to, this is what we're going to put out today. We're going to earn it back, put it out tomorrow, earn it back, put it out the next day. And so the thing that I want you to grasp with that, and this is one of those things that I want you to understand, this is the way the savviest direct response marketers, the most successful direct response marketers online look at their customer acquisition and their front-end marketing funnel. And that is that you don't have a marketing budget, right? If you're at the point or beyond the point where you've got a budget for your business every month, what you're willing or capable of spending in terms of expenses like the lights, the phone, the blah, 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 payroll. You don't have an arbitrary budget for marketing once you've got your dialed funnel in place. Once you have a funnel in place that is allowing you to recoup your money back, having an arbitrary budget like, hey, we're only going to invest $3,000 this month total over the course of 30 days into traffic generation, all that does is just arbitrarily cap your ability to acquire customers. Because see, remember, it's not an expense, it's an investment that you're bringing back. See, my goal is not, and this is the thing that I want you to get, the goal is not to invest the least amount of money in traffic. The goal is to be able to invest the most amount of money possible. If every dollar that you invest into traffic comes back to you in the form of a new customer, comes back to you in the form of sales and new customers, the way you grow your company the quickest, the biggest, is by investing as many of those dollars and as often as possible as you possibly can. That's the way you grow big. It's not how can I invest the least this month. It's how can I invest the most. See, I love putting our money out there into traffic, as each and every one of you also will once we've got your funnel up and running, because I know that every time I do that, it just brings me more customers that are assets, customers that appreciate and value, customers that kick off profits every week and every month as they go through our back-end marketing funnels. And so I want you to get this idea of a marketing budget out of your mind. Marketing budget is an arbitrary cap that you put on yourself. See, now, if you were a typical mom and pop business owner, if you were a typical small business operator, and maybe let's say you didn't even have a funnel, or you didn't understand the difference between front end and back end, or you didn't have the conversions there, or maybe, God forbid, you weren't even using direct response marketing, sure, then you absolutely need to have a marketing budget, because you're going to lose a bundle of money. And for those marketers, because they can't track anything, they don't know, they usually mom and pops, they don't know what the ROI is, they don't know what's working and what's not working. They need to have a cap on what it is that they can invest, or in their case, really spend. But for you, it doesn't work that way. Once we get your funnel set up, like I'm going to show you tomorrow on the webinar, then it's about scale. And scale is all about how often can I invest $1 into traffic. How many dollars and how often. And I'll end with this, that the more aggressive that you're willing to be once you have your funnel in place. And I got to stress that, because a marketer that doesn't have a funnel, and I hope that that's none of you, but a marketer that doesn't have a funnel in place, I should really say doesn't have a conversion vehicle in place, a process to convert a prospect into a customer, a reliable process to convert a prospect into a customer, has no business investing money in traffic. And the marketers that are unable to convert prospects into sales reliably and consistently, investing more money in traffic will only put them out of business that much quicker. I don't mean to sound like a downer. I just want you to get it. Like, tomorrow is all the good news. Tomorrow is how to do it all, right? That's the good news. But I want you to get what's really going on, that the more aggressive you're willing to be on the front end, once you've got that funnel in place, the bigger and faster your business is going to grow, the bigger and faster your cash flow is going to grow, and the bigger and faster your income is going to grow. And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And so, yeah, if you haven't registered yet, there's a link somewhere to register. Go ahead, get on there, and we're going to get into some nitty-gritty stuff tomorrow. And so, is that cool, Mark?
That sounds good. And guys, I'll be right next to you taking notes. So if you haven't noticed yet, Todd is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm really happy that he was able to come on not only for this hangout, but for the presentation tomorrow. You guys are going to get a ton of value. So make sure you guys register for the event. Again, it's at 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, so Tuesday the 22nd. So go ahead and register. Man, there's already a ton of awesome stuff that you talked about here. So I can't wait for tomorrow. So thank you for everyone who attended the hangout. And anything else, Todd, before we sign off?
No, I think there were some questions came in. I'll answer some of those questions tomorrow. I'll tell you that yes, this was done with Webinar Ignition, and I've tried all of the I've tried them all, man, and I just go, Webinar Ignition is just, we love it, and so thank you, Mark. Yeah. What software platform do I use or recommend for funnels? You know, let me first say this. I am software and tool agnostic. And what I mean by that is that, you know, number one, let me say this for everybody. Number one, I'm going to show you tomorrow how you can set up your funnel, any funnel, with less than $100 in tools, right? And so I'm going to show you the simplest tools that you can use tomorrow that I make no money from. They're not my tools, but I'll show you how to do that. But the reality is that, you know, the tool is not, it's the strategy behind the funnel that I'm going to show you tomorrow. It's the steps behind the funnel. I don't, you know, when clients come to me and they say, hey, I use Aweber, or I use GetResponse, or I use Infusionsoft, or I use Office Autopilot, is that okay? That's not significant to me. So I am totally tool agnostic. There are certain tools that I like that I'll share with you tomorrow that I rely on, but you certainly don't have to use the tools that that I use or that I recommend. Will the marketing funnel work for an offline business? It depends, and we'll get into the answer is yes. The reality is that every single business needs to have a marketing funnel. That's period, end of the game. But depending on what your business is, the funnel might need to be tweaked slightly, and so we can certainly talk about that. Will you have a platform that is mobile? And let me see here. So one more. So Constance, for your question, if you're still on with us, you definitely want to contact Mark directly through Digital Kickstart. So just go to digitalkickstart.com, and I'm sure there's a support link somewhere on there, and they'll be able to answer that question for you.
Yeah, support.digital.
Yeah, and that's it. So I appreciate each and every one of you hanging out with us today. I think it was a great hangout. Tomorrow we're gonna rock the house, 2 p.m. Eastern time. If you haven't registered, go ahead, register, get on there, get ready to take some notes, get ready to learn a whole bunch. It's gonna be a blast, and I look forward to it. And so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mark, and I'll see each and every one of you guys and gals tomorrow. So take care, all.
Thanks, guys.